It's been a minute since we talked. The last time you and I sat down, it's been a few years. It was Louder Than Life. I think 2017. You guys were really, really starting to pick up some steam, gain a lot of buzz, and here we are a few years later. And you guys,
Long time ago, yeah.
yeah, and you guys have become one of the biggest buzzed bands, really blown up. And now you have a new single out in Odyssey, released about a month ago. The
Yeah.
animated video kicks ass, man. It's a
Oh,
really
thank you.
cool, definitely a cool accompany to the song. And I wanted to ask if you guys had any input, or really if you were the ones that came up with the idea for the story in that video.
Everything was inspired by the Odyssey, which was something I really wanted to do, and we were given an opportunity to do that, and we sort of ran with it, you know.
Yeah, you've talked in interviews and mentioned about how the Odyssey had a really big impact in your life and upon yourself. What was it about the Odyssey with that story that really made an impact on you and resonated with you so much? Was it the journey, the obstacles, the hardships, the family aspect of it? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that story.
It's a very timeless story, you know, and it's a very expansive story. I think the character Odysseus, I just saw a lot of myself in that character. He's very flawed. He's very he's probably the most human protagonist you're going to run into in most stories. You know, most of the time the protagonist is always like this perfect sort of, you know, kind of like, you know, Ray from Star Wars, you know, kind of thing where it's like they're good at everything and everything's easy, you know.
Right.
And what I like about characters like Odysseus is that you have aspects of like he's very smart and he's clever and he can get himself out of a situation that's bad, and he's brave and all that, but he's also a bit conniving and a bit of a jerk and a little, you know, he feels like a real person, you know.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing for me. And I don't know, I was reading it while rereading it for the first time in a long time while we were on tour with Deep Purple. That's what I was reading, an ebook version of it. And it just felt relatable to what we had experienced. Again, we did 120 shows in like 6.5 months, which was tremendous. We had never done anything remotely close to that, and we were exhausted. And what coming out the other side, you know, and looking back on our, you know, last year, especially now in the juxtaposition to the nothing that
Hmm.
that is this year,
Yeah.
you know, really puts it into perspective. And I remember it was a night in Denver, um, with some friends of mine, some good friends. And I remember I came out of that experience in particular. It was just one of those, like, I think one of the first like truly lost nights of my life. You know, I'm not really a crazy party guy, but I went out with some friends, had a couple of beers, and it turned into a lot more than a couple. And
Right.
but I remember coming out of that, and I remember writing down my words for Odyssey for the first time, and then it just evolved from there, you know, and into different stages, you know, with boys and everything. And I don't know, I'm really proud of that song because it
Hmm.
was a challenge, um, for myself. I wanted to see how far I could push it and take something that is needlessly complicated and make it edible for anyone to listen and not have to know a damn thing about the
Right.
story, but and really focusing on the family element of the story was my main focus. Like that's my modern take on it, I think.
Right. One thing I wanted to ask is that I've watched quite a few interviews that you've done, and I wanted to ask, does it still bother you when people refer to Joyous Wolf as like a modern classic rock band
Oh
instead of
yes,
just a new rock band?
yes,
You know?
tremendously so. Ever since day one, man, it was always. I as a person, I hate being put in a box,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was putting me in a box. And you know, like it was putting us in a box, and I'm like, why did this not happen to any other band at any other point in time? Why is it now that if you play rock music, you're considered a throwback,
Right.
even if you're not even trying to recapture um, some essence of something? I think that was the kind of the confusing thing is people were trying to put us in that boat, and we never really stuck to anything. It's not like
Right.
we were like, they totally sound like they're the 90s, or they totally sound like the
Right.
70s or the 80s. And then people are like, it's weird, it's like they sound like a mix of things, and it's like, yeah, because
Right.
that's every band.
Right.
you know
Right.
um
Exactly.
for the most part. Sorry, one second.
It's cool. I feel like people overanalyze music too much sometimes, to where it's like they sound like they're from the 70s, but a lot of bands do, but they still have a lot of aspects and sounds that would have fit in the 80s or 90s. And a lot of bands from the 80s had that sound, but elaborated on it as well. And it's overanalyzed a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, what's interesting for me is just, I think, and I might be biased, but I just don't think Joyce has ever really truly belonged in that category,
Hmm.
and that's just my opinion. I mean, is it because I have long hair? I'm like, because people have always had long hair. It's some,
Right.
people in colonial times had long hair, so it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't even try to. I just roll with it at this point. I've heard everybody under the sun. And it's just like,
Yeah.
it's always funny. It's like people are like, they're like a new age grunge band, and it's like, we're from Orange County, California. We are the least grunge thing
Right.
that is possible. Like, we live 15 minutes from Disneyland. That is not. You know. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're just a couple of guys that were just playing stuff that we thought sounded good, and it just ended up working into this sort of this thing. We never planned for it to. We were just making music and playing just rock and roll based music, and it ended up becoming part of this narrative for people. And it used to annoy me a lot more. It still does, but it's just sort of like, whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And there's like a handful of bands I feel like that have come out in the last 5 to 10 years that really, for some reason, people put in that category, and some of them really have had that essence. But I feel with you guys, it's just rock and roll. It's good old American rock and roll, and if that's what people get from it, cool. But it's music, and
Yeah.
it's
We're
just
just, we're just a rock band.
yeah,
We're a modern rock. We're a rock band, guys
yeah,
playing rock music right now, and
yeah. Yeah, and it just feels good, and the video for Odyssey just feels good. It's
that was the
you,
goal. I think that
yeah,
was definitely the goal, was to elicit positive
yeah.
feelings.
Was there any, because the song released in June, was there
Mhm.
any hesitation about releasing music in the middle of all of this stuff going on with releasing new music because you can't tour on it, or how is it different
No,
releasing music mid-pandemic?
I think a lot more than the pandemic was happening when we were releasing the
Yeah,
song. And we've been vocal about how we feel about it. And it's no secret if anyone wants to know that. We're not really much a political establishment, but
right.
we take our stance with things that matter to us. And so again, the world was, especially in that moment, just seemed to be you know on fire. And
Yeah.
I think our whole thing was, what, like, I feel like we could use just a little bit of something.
Mm.
And
We need new music right
yeah,
now.
we
The
need we
world
do.
needs it. The fans need it.
We it just. I mean, I think the one thing you're worried about, or at least I was personally, was just relevancy. He's like, will this be relevant with people? Like, I
Right.
mean, is this do people want to have a happy song in their life right now? And that's kind of what that song is. Not the other new music we're working in doesn't necessarily fit, into that. Just Odyssey itself is its own entity.
Mhm.
And so yeah, there was just those feelings, but I think ultimately it's about the same as releasing in any other time. The only difference is you can't go and, support it.
Right, right. I mean, some bands are starting to go out and play some shows now. They're with like socially distanced stuff. Is that something you guys have looked at what that might look like right
No,
now? Or are you guys kind
no,
of like that we're
no,
holding back
no,
until?
no, no,
No.
no.
Okay.
I think, I mean, no, I mean, honestly, I don't care if I'm calling people out. I think there is a gross irresponsibility.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, it's you know, like like right at the tail end of we played one show at the Viper Room, and already we felt a little dicey about that. And that was before things started closing down. The very next day, LA closed, and
Okay.
everything started shutting down. And we already felt weird about that, and that was before there were any or sanctions or restrictions or anything.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, I think at this point it's just grossly irresponsible, because a lot, people trying to downplay it and all this stuff.
Mhm.
It the unknown is a scary thing, and I think people need to be a little bit more afraid of that unknown, because it's like, well, it might not affect a guy like me, you know. I don't want to bring it home to my family.
Mhm.
I don't want to give it to my neighbor.
Yeah.
I don't want to risk things like that. And for the most part, like I've really, me especially the guys and I really stayed um inside, and
Mhm.
we weren't working. We it was hard to do that, hard to put this momentum that we had been building in a box and close it up and seal it up, because this year our year was going to be a very busy one. We had an American tours.
Mhm.
In the springtime, we were going to go out with Pop Evil for a couple of weeks, and then we were going to go to Europe for the first time.
Ooh.
Yeah, play
Oh
the
man.
European festivals. We were going to play,
Oh.
Download. We were going to play Grass Pop. We were going to play Tons of
Oh.
Rock. We were going to play
Oh
Hellfest.
man.
We had a lot. That was our first time. And that's really what we've always wanted to do. That was like
Yeah.
our penultimate goal happening right
That's
there.
like
It's like,
everybody's dream right there is the
yeah,
European festivals. I mean,
yeah, and we were really looking forward to that, and that was a tremendous blow. And I think we
yeah.
all got over that, had to get over that in our own individual ways. And but like at this point, as far as like this, I mean, look, taking social distancing precautions is fine and all that, but I just don't trust people,
Yeah.
and I have perfect reason to do that, because I live in California, and the
Yeah.
people at the beaches, are acting
Yeah.
like, still people are acting like it's not real,
Yeah.
and it is.
Yeah. We're having trouble out here in Indiana just with getting people to wear masks. We have so many, people that, like you said, don't believe it's real or think it's planned or don't think masks. I mean, so many people I know just won't wear masks, and I don't think that's the end all be all solution. But if it's
Yeah,
going to help in any way, I feel like
it,
we need
it's
to
it
do it.
anything helps.
Yeah.
It's like, just to slow down the spread. Like,
Hmm. Yeah.
but
We
people have talked about this stuff to death.
I
Like
know it's
you know,
it is getting, it's like beating a dead horse. I mean, but you
people are
guys
gonna
are
do what they're gonna do.
you guys are working on new music right now, obviously with
Yeah.
with Odyssey out.
Hmm.
It's been a year since the EP released. So I guess, how's the new music coming along? Is it done? Is it being worked on, or what are we looking at?
We no. We had started develop. We were like planning to like do sessions like throughout the year while
Okay.
we like in the middle of touring, and then it transformed into we just started doing stuff in back in January and February, and it just sort and this came up, it just sort of knocked the wind out of us, and
Sure.
we got slowed down. So we had only completed or almost completed two songs, and then we are
Gotcha.
wrapping up the second one, and that we were working on. And so we have a long way
Okay.
until because we're going to do an album. We have a long way until we have a record.
Gotcha.
But I think it's amazing. All these publications are like their upcoming album, and it's like Yeah.
Obviously, it's coming,
I
but
mean, that's the goal, but probably I'll say spring of 2021.
gotcha.
That's my
Tentatively, obviously, because
yeah.
anything can change with that.
I mean, I feel like now we can work with what we know and what we have, like
Gotcha. Gotcha.
when we
How
go
is
to the studio and stuff, it's like only like 5 people and whatever, so it's like it's we stay well within the confines of what we feel is safe and whatever,
right? How has Roadrunner been as far as working with you guys on, the timing and giving you guys the amount of time that you guys really feel like you need to complete a record and do it the way that Joyous Wolf needs to do it?
I mean, they've been very supportive. I mean, from what we did on the EP to
Hmm.
what we did on Odyssey are two completely different things, like the EP was very very modern in the sense like, we didn't play live, we just kind of did it track by track, and that's just not how we do things. We're like, we want to play live, we want to play to tape. Like that's what we want to do, and that's what we did. We used a really cool integrated system from tape straight into Pro Tools, and it's really awesome. It's a very rare
Nice.
thing, and yeah, we got to play live, and you can tell. You play the EP tracks and you play Odyssey, you can tell that there is a distinct difference in the way that the
Feels
music
different.
feels,
Hmm.
and that's real. Feel is everything.
Yeah.
Feel is everything to us, and no people trying to mess with my vocal. It's like I just, I'm a workhorse. Like I just want to get it right. I'll stand there all day until I get it exactly how I want it to go. I don't care
Nice.
how many times I have to do it, and
Right.
um, yeah, that's just our mentality. We're that kind of band where we like to work, and that's how we're going to be doing the rest of this future record is just one knock at a time.
Awesome. Well, man, I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the new music when we finally do get it. Patience is everything right now. I feel like we all needed to
Expect
slow
another
down.
single relatively soon.
Okay. Awesome.
And a lot of other stuff, a lot of other fun stuff that we just completed over like the last week,
Okay. Like,
which you'll see. You'll see
okay.
it'll be very
Okay.
cool. I think everyone's going to be very happy.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, I mean, obviously the fan base is rabid and ready for more stuff. It eats everything you guys do up pretty quickly and loves it for the most part.
They're,
So
they're a small but mighty bunch. Like that's
that's
the main thing. Is just
that's
trying to
all
get
you
as much.
need is mighty. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
size. It's
just telling
die
them all.
hard.
It's like, hey guys, just if everybody just shows 10 friends, that's 100,000 people. So come on, let's do it.
Exactly. That's all we need. And patience is everything right now. I mean, the more patient we are, the more time you guys have to work on it, the better it's going to come out. Ready for it, man. Cannot
Yeah,
wait.
I think there's going to be a lot of albums coming out in
Yeah.
2021
Yeah,
or this
definitely.
year already. I mean, I think bands are like going to release this year and whatever, and
Yeah.
I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I feel really bad though for a couple of people that I know who are young guys in bands, and this was like their year to like get started.
Mm-hmm.
Like just got signed, just working, and then it's like it makes you feel rather fortunate that the last 2 years I had were very uninterrupted. You know,
Yeah.
as far as touring and like 2017 festivals and
Oh
2018 more
God, yeah.
festivals and touring, and then 2019 was more festivals and so much
You
touring
guys
that I
toured like all year long for a good 2, 3 years straight. It seemed like. I mean,
yeah, it was
yeah,
end of 2017 we started touring like in the fall, and
yeah.
then we did all of 2018 as much as we could in 2018, and then we did just an astronomical amount of
Hmm.
touring, in that grand sense of how we do it anyways. We just didn't stop. I think we only had like I think I had 5 days off.
Oh
Like
good God.
we did like 85 shows with Buck Cherry, and
Yeah.
then I had 5 days off with my family, and then I flew to Nashville and then did another 32 with Deep Purple. And that's
Nice.
also not counting 6 shows we did in between the Buck Cherry tours, like right in between, and we just flew right into, they just kind of blended right in. We did 6 shows in Canada and one in Milwaukee with Slash and Miles Kennedy. So it was
Yeah.
just
Did you guys play shows with Fozzy? I feel like I saw you
we
guys
did
on
in
a couple
2008, in
Fozzy bills.
2018.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a
yeah,
while ago.
yeah. Because Jericho just mentioned you guys on his podcast at some point in one of his episodes. I think
Yeah, he
his
just did the other
his
day.
Facebook show, his live Saturday night show.
Yeah, he just did the other day. He's still
Yeah,
a really good friend with me
yeah,
personally. Like
yeah.
he and I talk, and he's always really cool to me.
He's
And
a good guy.
he came on my show that I have now called Singer Speaking. It's a podcast show that I do, and I talk with other singers just about the craft and whatever. And
Nice,
I just had Jeff Tate from
nice,
Queensryche on my show, and
nice.
expect a lot more cool guests like that. So plugging myself there,
Where
that's
can
something I
people
do to
find?
pass the
Where
time.
can people find that show at?
Singer Speaking is on YouTube. It's on the
Okay,
Volume 11 Next music channel on YouTube. You can find it on Singer Speaking on Instagram and Facebook. You can find it all
nice.
there. I've already
That's awesome.
talked to Landon from Goodbye June. I've talked
Nice.
to Justin Benlolo from Broken Love. Cody Bowles from Crown Lands. Tons more. I'm forgetting. Todd Kearns from Slash and Miles Kennedy.
Nice.
Uh, Trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anyone. So, Luke Spiller from the Struts. You know,
I saw that one.
I got
Yes.
a
Yeah.
lot of cool friends. Got a lot of cool
Nice.
friends.
Nice. Creativity's everywhere, especially right now, man. People are doing all kinds of stuff. It's so good to see, man. Um,
I
dude,
can't sit still, man. So I need to do something.
it's all good, man. Nick,